Good afternoon, Matthew. Stephen Roman here, president of Global Atomic. And I guess it's been a few months since our last interview, so lots happened in the market since then.
Well, I wanted to catch up because I tell you what happened. Almost immediately after our last interview, sort of middle of August, you went from 240 in terms of share price, went from about 240 up to about 440 because of a certain Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. Did you see it coming, and what have you made of their performance so far?
Well, listen, I think everybody was anticipating something coming out of Sprott and their acquisition of Uranium Participation Corporation. So we felt that there would be some move higher in the uranium price. I think the fact that it moved from about $30 to over $50 was quite a rapid move. And of course, people that like the uranium space really piled in. And I think, recently there's been some profit taking, of course, a bit of a pullback in the whole sector, which is healthy. I think technically speaking, it looks good on the chart. And, it consolidates some of this and gets the day traders and some of the shorts out of there. And I think we're bottomed out here and we're starting to build the base here. And we're going to move higher as the fall progresses.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is obviously Sprott has come back down to around sort of 41, 42 level. It seems like Sprott have taken the foot off the accelerator, just waiting to sort of see what this kind of reset will bottom out at and then maybe step back in. But I guess we'll find out over the next few days and weeks on that one. The other thing that has happened, as you mentioned, is equities have come off to slightly their higher highs and higher lows, which is good news for you guys. But how do you guys take advantage of that? Because you can go and borrow some quite cheap money now. Is that in the plans?
Well, we weren't planning on borrowing any money at the moment. We are working on a project financing plan right now with our consultants in the UK. So we've got a number of shortlisted banks. We're showing them data right now. So there's a process underway. And of course, they're very interested in the project and a new development in Niger. The project's got some tremendous attributes, as you know. So, I think at some point here, it'd be nice to announce some sort of a term sheet with a financing group. Obviously that'll allay the fears of the market on how are we going to finance this thing. Of course, we've been very, let's say, tight with our equity, so to speak. So we don't like issuing a lot of shares. We did a little raise back in March. There has been a lot of inbounds wanting to put more money in. We've resisted for the moment, and we'd like to see the share price higher.
Well, okay. I think all your shareholders are happy, but yeah, and they'll be even happier if it does go higher. But saw the press release with regards to CMAC-Thyssen. You signed a letter of intent with them. What's happening on the ground? Because obviously you've told us a lot about the flank zone. You're going after the higher grade stuff. You've put out your study on that one. What are you going to be doing with CMAC-Thyssen?
So first of all, there's a lot going on the ground since we spoke in August. So one is we've started our 15,000 meter drill program. So the idea behind that, of course, is to do work around the flank zone on strike, also to do infill drilling of the rest of the deposit so we can move the category to a higher level, so we can include that in the feasibility study. Because the flank zone, just for everybody's, remembering, is only about 20% of this deposit. So if we can increase the size of the flank zone area, of course, then we can continue to mine on that part of the ore body. It's very shallow. It'll be inexpensive to mine that. It's a ramp access again. And then doing the drilling on the balance of the deposit, of course, will increase the value of that entire part of the deposit. So this is ongoing right now. In addition, we've been working on infrastructure on site. So including, we're now building a much larger camp that would house construction personnel. We've got, of course, bids out there for infrastructure from local contractors. So we have now engaged with the local contractor to actually, with management of our, owner's team being on site present, they will they will start excavating the box cut for the portal in January. So this is a very important milestone. The fact that we're going to have a crew moving in January and starting to actually do excavation in order to start moving underground. CMAC-Thyssen then would come, they're going to start mobilizing in February. The idea is by the end of March, we'll have the box cut completed, the face ready to go. CMAC will move in with their crew and start the ramping right away into the flank zone. So, all of this has happened since we last met in August. And of course, also we've been hiring additional people. We've got searches going on for talent, both on the management level and also the corporate level, finance people, accountants, et cetera, that are going to form part of our team in country. We've also secured an office location in Miami. It happens to be a great location right in the heart of the city, and it's a new building. And so we've got that secured. We've got housing in Miami secured now for our expatriate staff that'll be coming and going. So there's been a flurry of activity since we last spoke. And this is all with obviously the end goal of starting the work on the project, getting underground and opening up the mine.
These new hires of yours, are they French speaking? Was a former employer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Employer Orano?
There's some people that were formerly with Orano and others, international people that have worked in West Africa for many years that speak French, that obviously are mine builders, developers, also people that are capable and have done plant construction. So a big component of this project, of course, is building our processing plant. So that all is being finalized now as part of our feasibility study. And so we're hiring people that will be actually in charge of that construction process. We also have been putting out bids for EPCM contractors. So there's a number of big firms that want to actually do the EPCM on the plant. So that's all in works right now. And that's one reason why this week the entire team here in Canada is at our head office. And we're doing a session on all of the rollouts, let's say, of the work program.
So what are some of the options available to you? Because, obviously we've talked in the past about Orano leaving and, what they're potentially going to leave behind for you to pick up. Are you waiting for them to go, or are you in discussion with them now? And, what's that going to mean for your bottom line?
Well, Orano, of course, is operating the Somaire facility currently, and that's the group that are interested in taking ore as a direct shipping ore from Dasa right up to Somaire. So we are still in the process of negotiating a finalized agreement with them. We have now secured trucking and costs on all of that. We need to see the final numbers that they're going to supply for milling, and then button up that agreement.
But what's happening with them? I mean, Somaire is due to run for how long?
Somaire has been running for about 50 years.
Right, and how long is it due to continue running? I mean, what's its life of mine?
Oh, well, that's a hard number to pin down because Orano doesn't really want to say, but I would say in the range of 5 to 10 years.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. So what about some of the other local infrastructure that you may be able to pick up? Because obviously it's long been a uranium mining district. Are you going to be the beneficiary of other companies perhaps leaving?
So Orano shut down their Coalmanac operation at the end of March. We looked at equipment there. There are some pieces of equipment in that plant that we could use, we could refurbish. They are currently in the process of demolishing that plant and rehabilitating the site. Clearly, the people that work there are available, and we've been interviewing people to move right on to our site. We're also looking at equipment and any other potential synergies we can have with Orano, including, for instance, sulfur. So Orano brings sulfur into the port of Cotonou. They ship it up by truck to the operation at Sommer. If we can achieve synergies by partnering with them on some of these key supply components, then that'll reduce their costs as well as our costs. So these are discussions we're having with them right now.
Okay, so you're telling us
as well as potentially buying some used equipment.
Right. Well, that's where kind of what I was trying to get at there. But when will you be in a position to know what you're going to be able to discuss with them, which may affect your bottom line positively in terms of equipment, not just people, but
well, that's Matt. That's all ongoing right now, like every week. We have discussions ongoing. We have people on site. We have people speaking with their crews at Coalmanac and at Sommer. So it's an ongoing situation. So, we haven't nailed anything down yet, but I would expect in the next 2 months, we should have some clarity on whether we can do some sort of synergistic deals with them, also buying some equipment, etc. So that's going to be probably a couple months yet.
Okay, fine. Okay, and then that'll come into the feasibility study when that gets done. Right. I know you said you're tight with your money and you're looking at the process of maybe raising some money at some point when you feel it's right. But you're operating. Oh, sorry. You're looking at currently using 20% of the data, right? At the moment, you've got a much bigger ore body in front of you. You've got the Chinese government saying to its Chinese energy providers, "Go get me energy. Get me energy secured by any means," right? They are making 50-year plans in the way that the West is not. Do you feel to have conversations with people, with the Chinese government, etc., you would need to show scale, or are you just going to do this at your own pace and just focus on what's in front of you now, and you'll come back to the rest of the ore body at some point further down the line?
Well, of course, I believe everyone knows this is a world-class ore body, and for a company like ours, and with the low uranium prices, of course, we've put together a plan that would get us into production, doing between 4 and 5 million pounds a year, which we felt is a good entry point for a new developer. Clearly, if a huge company had this, they might attack it in a different way. The Chinese, of course, would like to mine it as large as possible and take all the uranium back to China. So that's one scenario. So right now, we are a mining group. We're a mining company. Our history is mining. We've developed many projects around the world. My father started Denison Mines, built Elliott Lake, built the largest uranium mine in the world, and that was here in Ontario. So, our heritage is mining. So we're not here to flip a project. We want to actually build this. We are well underway in that process. The feasibility numbers, as we mentioned previously, should all be out before the end of the year. In the meantime, we are getting contractors organized to actually do the physical work. So excavation will start in January, ramping will start in April. The key thing is to get product available for utilities by January 2025. So that's what we're working towards right now, is to get the work done in a proper sequence so that we can be producing yellow cake in a drum in 2025 in January. And utilities that we're speaking to right now, that's the timelines we're giving them. So we have discussions with utilities right now. We are participating in RFPs for supply with a number of utilities. So, you know what, I think once we have one or two of these utilities signed on and we have a definitive timeline, people will see that, hey, this is not just smoke and mirrors and promotion. This is actually a mine going into production. So this is what we're doing right now. And, you know, we've got all of these different legs of going on at the same time here. Excuse me. So, you know, people will soon see that this is a viable project that is going ahead, that will be a new producer, and that's what people need to see.
I was talking to Justin Gower the other day, and I was speaking to other commentators in the uranium space, and they say that the big problem for the uranium juniors is the lack of skilled workers and the lack of people who've actually done it before, and that people will be, some of these companies will be learning on the job. And that's where mistakes happen. So I appreciate your track record there, but are you getting any advantage because of your track record of having built mines before with utilities? Are they more likely to listen to you than, say, someone who hasn't, or are you all on the same boat?
No, you know what? I think the history goes a long way with the utilities, and you know, they can look at all the projects we've done over the years and say, you know, like these are people that actually build projects and make production. So that goes a long way, and they appreciate that, and they know the name, my name, Denison name, etc. We were big suppliers in the world market. Denison still exists today and doing excuse me, projects in Saskatchewan. COVID. What can you say?
Well, that's if you make it. Would you like a glass of water?
Yeah, I'm going to have a little water.
Good idea. Okay, see, this is the bit that interests me, because we get all sorts of companies coming on here, and with the uranium juniors specifically, everyone says the same thing, right? They do a peer analysis. They show you where they look in relation to other people in terms of valuation and stuff. And my question is, what's the difference between a paper valuation and share price and actually fundamentally being able to get into production? There seems to be a disconnect there. For me, I see a disconnect there. I'm just wondering what the reality is. Will these companies get there? Will it just be a case of it'll be a little bit more expensive than they thought? It'll take a little bit longer than they thought? Or is M&A going to have to come into play if they are to work out how to actually get into production?
Matt, I guess I didn't really answer the question previously, but there is a shortage of skilled technical labor for uranium because it's been out of favor for a long time and people have done other things. So the key thing is, I guess, from our point of view, is that we know where these uranium process experts are, and we have them on our team. So that includes a group like Process Research Ortec here in Toronto that have been involved in every uranium project in Canada over 40 years, designing flow sheets, plants, doing the metallurgy, all of that. We have experts from Australia involved with us. We have experts from the UK, and people know what we have, and they want to be a part of Global Atomic, and they want to be a part of this project. So we have the technical expertise. We put the whole flow sheet, plant plan, the whole mine plan, all that together. And the people we have are on board now. And of course, with CMAC shutting down, we have an entirely trained labor force that's ready to come on, that knows the mining, knows the processing, because they've been doing it up the road for 50 years at CMAC. So all of these people, there's the second, third generation of people that have been working there producing uranium for Orano. that we can tap into. So, you know, that's something that maybe a lot of other juniors out there don't have. And typically, juniors will find a deposit if it looks good. You know, they'll enhance it a little bit and they'll flip it out to somebody. Well, we don't do that. We actually like to build projects. I mean, this kind of a discovery is a once in a lifetime discovery. It's the largest, highest grade uranium deposit found in Africa in 50 years. So it's a company building asset. And what we want to do for ourselves and all our shareholders, of course, is to prove it up and put it into production and be a significant producer in the world.
Okay. I think obviously as the contracting starts happening, as your conversations start to firm up, as it were, it'll give you some sort of line of sight in terms of timing. But like, I appreciate the update today. I guess we'll hear more from you before Christmas. Sounds like there's a few things that are just starting to come together before then. So yeah, stay in touch. Let us know how you get on, okay?
We sure will, Matt, and appreciate the interview today and obviously keeping our Crux group updated with our developments. I think that the key points here is that the project is moving ahead at a very rapid pace. And we're breaking ground in January. So, you know, this is not something that we're just promoting. It's something that we're actually building.